REISER of Dry Miller and Cray Meats in Hampshire, Illinois. And Ed's our in-house butcher for Culinary Adventures. And we've got this big slab of steer or something here. It's beef, of course. And what exactly is it, Ed?
This is an inside round. Some call it a top round. And this comes off the hind quarter of the animal on the inside of the leg. And what we're going to do today is we're going to cut Larry a 2-inch steak off of this that he can put on his barbecue. To give people an idea, this used to stand up on the animal as such, and where I'm placing the steel now, there used to be a shank bone that went through there.
Oh, okay.
All right? And then they just removed that, and now we have this subprimal cut, which is an inside round.
Now, explain to us the difference between what is a primal cut and what is a subprimal cut.
Okay, let's look at our steer. Our whole steer, you have your primal cuts.
Right.
You have the round, which this comes off of.
Okay.
You have your loin, you have your rib, and then you have your chuck.
Okay.
Then, after we take each individual piece, we break it down. So off of the round, you're going to have a shank, an inside round, an outside round, or sometimes termed gooseneck.
Okay.
Then you're going to have the rump off of there.
Right.
Then you get into your loin, you get your steaks, your T-bones, your sirloins. Then you get into your rib, you get your prime rib, which we all go to restaurants for.
Sure, sure.
And out of that, then, we go to our chuck, and on the chuck, we get basically your pot roast.
Okay, now is a standing rib roast the same as prime rib?
Yes, it is.
Okay, it is.
In the meat business, we kind of go crazy because somebody thought of the same piece of meat and gave it a different name in a different part of the country. And today, it's hard to standardize the names of the product due to the fact that there are 2 or 3 names for every cut of meat that's out there.
And that's be regional or whatever has been
A
picked
lot of
up
it's
from.
regional.
So like, for instance, ribeye, Delmonico steak are the same things, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Delmonico kind of comes from the California trend.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Gotcha.
Shall we cut into this?
Yeah, cut us a slab.
First of all, when these come in, because it is coming from a packing house, we prefer to start with a piece of meat that's USDA choice.
Right.
This gives us a standard. At most of your larger supermarkets today, they're using Select. And we have prime, choice, and Select grades.
Right.
Select used to be called Good.
Okay.
And a kind of a marketing venture in the meat people was to change the name Good to Select so it sounded a little bit better.
Sure, sure.
But we prefer to stay with choice because it gives us an even base every time we get into a piece of meat.
Right.
Okay?
And the difference would be what? The fat, the marbling?
Okay. Let's get into
the age.
I used to grade a few years back, in fact, quite a while ago. And what we start out with is the age of the animal and the marbling and the outside fat cover.
Okay.
You have yield grade and you have a quality grade. Yield grade refers to how much fat is on this carcass. What we do is we split the animal between the 12th and 13th rib.
Okay.
This is the primal cut break between the rib and the loin. And at that point, what they'll do is measure the outside fat at 1/3 down on the outside of the ribeye. So we have a rib this way, we measure 1/3 down, and we check the outside fat cover. Then they have kind of a mathematical calculation, and they look at the outside fat cover, the kidney, pelvic, and heart fat, and they say that this is a yield grade 5 or yield grade 1. Yield grade 1 refers to a piece of meat that is the leanest. I think that the best quality meat you can get as far as yield grade is a yield grade 2 or 3. A 1 does not have enough outside fat cover, and a 4 and a 5 have entirely too much. There's a lot of waste, it just goes in the bone can. It's not worth anything.
Okay.
But because it's the nature of the beast, we are going to have a span of all of those whenever you're out there.
Sure.
As far as quality grade, what we're looking at is we just judge the quantity of marbling at that ribeye. And from that, there's pictures that depict how much marbling there is, and then we give it a prime, choice, and a select grade. There are more grades, but they basically diminish in the amount of fat. Select, when we look at select, Larry, you're going to have virtually hardly any marbling.
Right.
Very few flecks of marbling.
Right.
It's not big chunks, big globules. It's small, mild little flecks of fat that are in the intermuscular area, okay? I think that a yield grade 2 or 3 choice is the best thing you can get. Prime is fine, but it's an extremely rich piece of meat because of the degree of fat that's in there.
And more expensive too.
It is much more expensive, yes.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Gotcha. Sure.
What I like to do on a piece of meat like this is we like to remove this outside fat cover. There's some connective tissue in here, and then there's also a little bit of veining and some fat in here. So what we'll do is we'll start in here and we'll just remove some of this product.
Okay.
And like any business, whether you're a carpenter or you're a meat cutter, you always have remnants left over, and that's just how business is. If you're in the furniture business and you're upholstering, well, then you're going to also have a little material left over.
Or a guy who lays carpet or whatever.
This is just part of the business.
Sure. Now,
some of this product we can trim out and we can put it into ground beef, but much of it is worth absolutely nothing. While we're cutting this, I want to bring up the issue about E. coli.
Good, yeah, good idea.
E. coli is in almost all meat. It's there. We have it in our intestine area, it's in our stomachs, and people need to realize that E. coli is out there, it is prevalent, and the reason we have such a scare with ground beef, it's because as we're trimming this piece of meat, we're getting pieces from all over this.
Sure.
When you combine this with the whole animal and grind it, you have a tremendous amount of surface area. Your chances and probability of E. coli are much higher. In turn, the people should cook the meat thoroughly through, at least to 155 degrees, especially on ground beef.
Sure.
Now, on a cut like this, whether it's either a round or it's a roast, whether it's steaks, in that case, your chances of E. coli are less because the outside surface is what's going to carry it. And if we can get that cooked, we're fine. But the fact of eating ground beef raw or medium rare is not a safe thing to do. And I think if we would educate the viewing people and all the common public that if we cook our meat, especially ground beef, that we would probably get rid of all this E. coli problem that's out there.
Okay.
These small little pieces, I'll show with my knife, here, along in here. These are fairly large compared to what you would see.
Okay.
Now, we would not use this as marbling. We'd only use that ribeye, Larry. It's the only place that we can judge the quality.
Well, not for judging, but like for this steak here, I'm going to put it on the grill, probably put a rub on it or something. But the flavor, that besides the flavor of the meat, we're going to get flavor out of that fat.
That is true. That is where you're going to get it.
Okay.
Where you get a piece of select meat, you're not going to get the flavor because it doesn't have that fat.
Right. It's leaner, so it doesn't have that.
Exactly. And I think, you know, we Americans like the flavor of beef, and if you ever talk to somebody that goes to the hospital and the doctor says, no more beef, you need chicken and fish.
Right.
They crave beef, and they're craving actually that fat flavor.
Ah.
This is also excellent for beef stew pieces like this. And all you would do is just come in, make little cubes.
Sure.
And you've got beef stew, and it's going to be an excellent quality beef stew. We use this in our counter. There are other cuts you can use, but I feel as soon as you cut a corner and try to make a lesser cut out of something,
it usually catches up with you at the end.
Exactly. Now, about how thick did you want this? About like this?
A little bit shorter than that.
Yeah?
Yeah. Beautiful.
Now, there's a small piece of vein in here, and I'm just going to cut this piece off.
That's fine. Hi. Well, we're going to make some sausage, and Ed is known for his sausage because of the smokehouse and the old world tradition that the market upholds, and especially with the sausage making and the smoking. So we're going to make, what, some brats and some Italian?
Yes. Now, they're a fresh sausage. They're not smoked, Larry. But what we're going to do today is we're going to start. We've got some about 80 to 85% lean pork here, and it comes off of the pork shoulder. This is what we predominantly use, and we're going to put it in this mixer, and we're going to put our spices in, and we're going to put water. Now, I know people are going to go, oh, there they go. They're making money on water. Well, there's 3% allowable, Larry, in fresh sausage, that is, and we do use just up to 3%, which is legal, and it does help to extract the myosin. It helps to mix and formulate the product. It makes it a much higher quality product than just do it dry.
Great, great.
We'll put this in.
Now we're using pork shoulder here?
Yes, we are.
Okay.
The pork butt, actually.
Pork butt? Great.
We trim them out. They have a bone in them. We trim them out. We grind them once through a medium-sized plate. And then what we'll do is we'll put our mixer up, we'll turn it on, and we have our spices. We use a whole spice. There is no oils. These are just all total spices that are fresh spice ground. We mix them in, and we let the mixer blend this together. Now, as this is mixing, if the people at home could think of taking a little ground beef and playing with it, or if you're going to make a meatloaf, what you're doing is actually causing the myosin, which is the protein level in meat, in the meat molecule, to come out. It also becomes kind of a sticky feel. And that helps to hold the sausage better. It makes it a very excellent quality sausage. Now, this type of product needs to mix for about 3 to 5 minutes. We add our water. I usually put it on the wall of my mixer here because it gets whatever spice that I goofed up and made stick on the side of the wall. You can also hear it kind of flopping down in there now, and so now it's actually doing a better mix job. While that's mixing, what I wanted to do is explain to the people about casings.
You have a couple different ones.
I have some casings. What this is it's a collagen casing. It's an artificial casing. And they come packed on this cardboard in a plastic. This goes on a stuffing horn. Here's what a stuffing horn looks like. I'll show the viewing audience. This is a stuffing horn. They come in various sizes, and this just loads on to the stuffing horn, and it's all ready. Now here at Dry Miller and Cray, we use a natural casing that we have to soak in about 95 to 100 degree temperature water. This is the intestines.
Natural intestines.
Yes, they are. But they are cleaned, mechanically cleaned, USDA approved. They're safe. They're good to eat because they have an excellent bite. What I find with the collagen casing is that they're a little tough. Let's take this for instance. I've got a sample here. This is one, and here, just pull on that.
Yeah, it's almost like...
It's kind of like a, it's not plastic.
Almost, though.
But almost, yes. Now, I just don't care for them. They do give a high-quality sausage, a very uniform look. But I prefer the more traditional look, which is the natural casing. Okay? Well, this is mixed just about long enough, Larry.
And it's all well blended. It's really beautiful.
And that's actually the key. What I do is I kind of have this highly technical way of looking at things, and if you can take the meat and you can have it go like this on your hand and it kind of sticks a little bit, it has had enough myosin extracted to make it a nice sausage. This is just kind of a simple water pressure stuffer. It's called a water pack by the manufacturer that makes it, and it has a little plastic piston in it with some seal rings to keep the water from coming through, and we just place the meat in there, pack it down, and we get the air out of it.
And then a piston goes in like almost like an engine?
Yes.
Pushes it out?
Pretty much.
Huh.
And then we turn the water on, and the meat starts rising up.
No kidding.
Maybe they'd like to see it come up. This is the head of the stuffer, and it just has a little rubber gasket inside.
Lock that guy under.
Little lock ring. Then we'll put our stuffing horn on.
Okay, let me get this out of here. I'm telling you, this is a real education. This is unbelievable.
Some of these are quite long, and you soak them in the water. They're usually packed in salt. And those that like to do a little home stuffing, I put a little water in to kind of help lubricate it and get it started. But if you do have your own natural casings that you're using at home, you should soak them in water for about a good 45 minutes. And when you're finished, you should drain them in a colander. And then pack just regular food grade table salt and use quite a bit of it. And that helps to actually preserve the casing.
Oh.
And then you let it it dries out, and then the salt on there helps to preserve it. And I'd suggest that at home, because of the volume and how often they're going to use the casing, put it in their freezer.
Okay.
Okay? I just tie a little knot in the end of mine.
Just a regular slip knot like
Just
that?
a slip knot. We'll trim off the end of it.
Okay.
Then you just turn the valve and you let it fly off. You just lay the sausage out as such. Get any kinks out. Couple twists. And it's kind of like sewing in a sense.
Oh.
And occasionally you're going to have a break, Larry.
Okay. Well, that's no big deal, right?
Not at all. We'll just tie this end off when we're finished. I usually just take the meat out of that one because it would probably just go to waste anyway. We can take this meat, turn the water pressure off, and just restuff it later.
Okay.
When you get to this end, you just do a reversal.
Oh, bring it back towards where you... Okay.
And retie it.
Fantastic.
And there you go.
That's some really handsome sausage, man.
Been opening and pleasing lots of people's palates.
Oh, man. That is great. Now, what do we have hanging in there, Ed?
Well, we've got many products here today for you. I'll just show you on the bottom shelf down here.
It looks like ham hocks or something.
Well, those are pork hocks smoking.
Okay.
Now, they don't have enough time on them. They're just a light golden brown. We'll show you some products later that should be much, much darker than this. So they will darken as they go through time. Right here, we have some small picnic hams. These come off at the bottom of the front shoulder. Actually, this hock is connected to part of this.
Okay.
All right. We talked about in our sausage area, we talked about using the butt. This is just the center core of the butt, and this is a smoked butt. And this is kind of like a little mini ham for just a few people.
Boston butt?
Yes. Yeah. Sometimes they call them sweet morsels, and so they are. The meat on them is just marvelous.
It's great, I know.
Over here we have a product that we told you about earlier, and this is going to be dried beef. Now, this will be smoked till it's about 140 degrees internal.
Okay.
And then we take it out, and then we put it in our cooker. And we cook it off till it's completely cooked, and then we slice it paper thin.
Okay.
And this is what dried beef is.
And that's basically the same cut as what we took that...
Off the inside round.
Gotcha.
This is the heart of the meat, though. There's just solid muscle there. Over on this side, we have a real specialty product. And
that's beautiful.
This is buffalo summer sausage, Larry.
You make all sorts of different types of meat. I know you have a buffalo brat that you also make. You also make turkey sausages and other types of stuff.
Right. We'll do a wild rice with cran raisins and turkey meat, and it's in a bratwurst form.
Right.
We'll do buffalo with Italian, a breakfast sausage out of buffalo, plain just buffalo ground beef, buffalo steaks. So we do quite a few different things with buffalo. You can almost do anything with buffalo that you make any other type of sausage.
Okay.
Would you like to see what we've got behind this?
Sure.
Okay, let me grab the hook.
Okay. Yeah, bring that on out, Ed. Let's get a look at that. Oh, man.
Now this is only about halfway through the process.
Okay.
And you can tell it doesn't have a whole lot of color, but it's starting to come in. And as we get more smoke on this product, it will get much darker in color, and in turn the flavor will come out on it.
Now, are those Canadians at the bottom, those shorter ones?
No, the shorter ones are off the cheek of a pig.
Ah!
And this is called jowl bacon.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
And this is something that we'll have people that will come to our store, say they went to 30 meat markets and have never found it until they came here. We have some families that this is the only type of bacon they'll eat.
Right.
And it's just because they enjoy the particular flavor that it provides.
Sure. And I know people that use that in lieu of salt pork.
Well, the thing is, though, here is that this is smoked. Okay?
Right.
This side needs a little more smoke to it. Actually needs quite a bit more smoke. But what we'll do in a little while, we'll go outside and we'll stoke up the smoker.
Okay.
And we'll get some heat going on this product. It needs a lot more smoke yet.
And we're using hickory here.
We're using 100% hickory logs, Larry. I want to point that out.
Not sawdust.
No liquid smokes, no sawdust in this smokehouse. This is traditional. I also like to show you a couple other things about nitrites and nitrates. And I'd like to talk to you also about the difference between smoking and barbecuing. A lot of people feel that when you smoke, that the food does not have to be cooked.
Right.
That's incorrect. It's just smoked. On the bacon, when this is finished, we'll have a thermometer and we'll bring it up to 140 degrees. The product then can exit the smokehouse and be cooled and sliced. We'll remove this area, which is the rind.
Okay.
And we then just take and slice the meat off on our bacon slicer. All the other products on here go to 140 degrees, except for the summer sausage, we will cook off till it gets 155.
Okay.
That's fully cooked at that point.
Right.
But as any product that is smoked doesn't mean it's cooked. You must cook these products.
After.
Yes. People need to get that. They just need to understand that's a real true point. I see so many people feeling anything that's smoked can be eaten the way it is.
Right.
Summer sausages, if they're cooked, yes. But on other products, no. Read the labels. We provide these. We all have to accommodate with regulations that are out there.
Sure.
And it'll either say fully cooked or whatever. But this product, most smoked products I'm saying, need to be cooked.
Good point.
The other thing is that this is a smokehouse. Different from what you do, Larry.
Right.
We're cooking here. We just checked the temperature on this and it had 120 degrees. That's all this room is right now. It's a cold smoke.
Right.
You're cooking at over 200 degrees.
Exactly.
So in that case, you don't need any nitrate or nitrite.
Right.
We can use both. Well, what about nitrite and nitrate? Well, they're virtually about the same thing. Over here, we have what we use in our store here is nitrite. Okay. It's 6.25% pure. On the summer sausage that I showed you, in 100 pounds of meat, we will use 4 ounces. This is 4 ounces. Because it's 6.25%, what I have done over here showed you an example of what 6.25% pure would be in a total batch of 100%. This is 6.25% out of the 4% here. So this is all you'll receive, which if you take a look at home, it's not even really going to fill this teaspoonful. This is all you'll receive in 100 pounds of meat.
That's trace amounts.
It's very minuscule. And the reason we use it is that these low temperature smoking, bacteria are in here.
Sure.
And they're incubating.
Right.
And the nitrate inhibits that bacteria growth so that you aren't having bacteria grow while you're trying to smoke and spoil the product. How about if we stoke up the smokehouse, Larry?
Let's do it, man.
Okay.
All right, we're going to stoke the fire. We're going to add some logs, and we've got some hickory, and we wanted to show you what the apple looks like when he uses the apple wood. So that's the difference. And you mentioned something about the bark?
Yeah, this is a shagbark hickory. Gets its name from the shagginess. You kind of look at it, it's kind of shaggy. And as this tree gets older, many times you'll see, well, let's see, like this. You'll see a lot of this, and you're driving along the road, you'll see that bark laying back.
Yeah.
That's a shagbark hickory. Put them at different angles now so they get more air around them.
Okay.
And we'll get a fire going. What we do at night is we take and we pack it real tight, and then I put ashes on it, and that just smolders all night long. This is some of that buffalo sausage we looked at. There's what she looks like. And then we'll take and we'll peel the casing off.
Okay.
Now, the people are going to say, well, no, why don't you guys want to eat this casing? This casing's a little thicker, and people just don't, aren't appealed to this. But on the bratwurst, the casing is just fine to eat. It gives it an excellent bite.
This is excellent. This is fantastic, man.
I'll try some myself. Little wine, little beer. To me, that's all it's missing.
Crackers,
Cheese,
mustard.
no mustard. I don't want to cover my flavor.
Okay.
You can taste the hickory in this.
Fantastic, man. Hey, thanks for the tour.
You're welcome. Thanks for coming out.
It was great. Thanks for having us.